What's up, Broncos country? Are you ready for another bombshell that's going to mess with our emotions? Because what happened yesterday is going to leave a lot of fans divided. The Denver Broncos just made a decision that many people were already expecting, but it still hurts the hearts of those who have been following this team for years. I'm talking about a cornerback who was once considered the future of our defense, who once shared the field with Patrick Surtain II as a starter, but now he's no longer part of the orange and blue family. Over $3.4 million freed up in salary cap space all at once. A player who's only 26 years old, with 43 NFL games under his belt, who simply disappeared from the radar in recent times. You already know who I'm talking about, right? Broncos country. Stay with me here, and I'll tell you all the details of this decision that could completely change the course of our 2025 season. That's right, Denver Broncos family. The front office, led by Sean Payton and George Paton, decided to cut Damarri Mathis from our final roster. And look, folks, this wasn't a surprise for those who closely follow practices and the preseason. Mathis was that cornerback we had huge hopes for, remember? Drafted in the 4th round of 2022, coming from Pittsburgh, the guy arrived here with everything. In his first year, just imagine, 11 games as a starter. Sharing the field with our star Patrick Surtain II, forming a duo that promised to dominate the league for years. But here's the thing, Broncos country, football is way too unpredictable. In 2023, Mathis still managed 6 games as a starter, but you could already see that something wasn't working. The defense was changing, new schemes coming in, and the guy was gradually losing space. And in 2024, just 1 game as a starter, 1 game only. You know why? Because Riley Moss exploded in the league and completely took his position. Moss showed that grit, that intensity that every cornerback needs to have in the NFL, and simply never let go of the spot. Now you'll understand how things got even more complicated for Mathis this season. The Denver Broncos used the first round of the draft, the first round family, to select Jahdae Barron. When you use such a valuable pick on a defensive back, it's because you're betting all your chips on the guy. Result? Mathis plummeted to 6th position in the cornerback hierarchy. 6th position! Imagine the guy's frustration. He fell behind even Chris Abrams-Draine, who's only in his 2nd year. Throughout the entire preseason, while the starters were resting, Mathis was there playing until the final minutes of the preparation games. And Sean Payton, our head coach, didn't hide the situation from anyone. In a press conference on August 16th, he made the message crystal clear. These are going to be tough decisions, but I'd rather be in this position than in the situation we were in 2 years ago. Folks, translating that, Payton was saying that the team is so strong in depth that they're going to have to cut players who could easily be playing for other NFL franchises. It's the kind of good problem to have, but it hurts when you get attached to the athletes. Payton also added, the talent level has been gradually improving. They're all competing, and we're serious when we say we're rooting for all of them. We're rooting for the best of them, because we know some will end up on other teams' rosters playing. It's part of the business. Tell me, Broncos country, can you imagine how difficult it must be for a coach to make these decisions? On one hand, you want to keep players you know who have already proven their worth. On the other hand, you have to think about the future, competitiveness, the salary cap. And speaking of salary cap, that was probably the cherry on top of the decision. With Mathis's cut, the Denver Broncos freed up over $3.4 million. That's a lot of money, family. Money that can be used to renew important contracts, sign free agents during the season, or even save for the next offseason. Just imagine, $3.4 million that could make the difference between being able to keep a key player or losing him to the competition. In the NFL world, where every penny counts to build a competitive roster, this amount could be fundamental to our playoff ambitions. But what now? What happens to Damarri Mathis? Well, folks, the guy is only 26 years old and has 43 games of NFL experience. This means he's still physically in his prime and has enough background to interest other franchises. In fact, people are already speculating about his future. Some analysts are suggesting that the Carolina Panthers could be an interesting destination. Why? Simple. Ejiro Evero. You remember Evero, right, family? He was our defensive coordinator and is now doing the same job in Carolina. And guess in which season Mathis had his best performance? That's right. When he played under Evero's command here in Denver, the reasoning makes total sense. Mathis knows Evero's scheme, knows how it works, had success within that system. In Carolina, he wouldn't need to be an immediate starter. They already have J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson, and Chow Smith-Wade in the main positions. Mathis would come in as a quality reserve, ready to take on responsibilities when necessary. And you know how it is, Broncos country. Sometimes a player just needs a different environment to shine again. It could be that in another place, with another scheme, Mathis rediscovers that form that made him a starter here in his first year. Hold up, Broncos country. If you're enjoying this complete analysis of our team's decisions, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. Because here, you always stay on top of everything that happens with the Denver Broncos. Don't miss any move, any signing, any cut. Now let me give you my honest opinion about this whole situation, Denver Broncos family. I think Mathis's cut makes sense from an organizational standpoint, but I confess there's a little bit of sadness. The guy arrived here with a lot of potential, showed his worth in his first year, but simply couldn't evolve at the pace the team needed. And look, this isn't necessarily his fault. Sometimes the pieces don't fit, the timing doesn't work, the chemistry doesn't happen. Riley Moss came and took the position with tooth and nail. Jada Barron arrived with all the first-round hype. Chris Abrams-Drain showed consistent development. What makes me more optimistic is knowing that we have all this depth at the position. Remember a few years ago when we hoped to have at least one decent cornerback besides Surtain. Now we have the luxury of choice. Those three. $4 million freed up could be the difference between being able to make an important upgrade during the season or being stuck with our hands tied. Sean Payton and George Payton are building a roster thinking long-term, not about sentimentality. So, Denver Broncos family, what do you think about this decision? Do you agree with cutting Damarri Mathis, or do you think he deserved another chance to prove his worth? I want to know your honest opinion here in the comments. Do you think these three, $4 million freed up in salary cap space, will make a difference in our playoff pursuit? Or would you have preferred the team keep his experience as a quality reserve? And there's more. Do you bet that Mathis will get a good opportunity on another team? Could the reunion with Ejiro Evero in Carolina resurrect his career? Leave your opinion down here, Broncos country. Debate with respect, but debate with passion, because that's what unites us in this orange and blue family. Don't forget to leave that cheeky like if the content added value for you. Share it with friends who are also passionate about the Denver Broncos. And, of course, stay tuned, because next week we have more hot news about our beloved team, Broncos country. Until the next video, here's to an epic season for our family.